joined his as I stumbled backwards, tripping over my feet and falling to the ground. Hard, in front of me, Father Augustine's body began to fold in on itself. He was trying to make himself small, as though it could protect him from the acid death that had descended from the rafters. From the way that it ate through his skin, it didn't seem to be working. His flesh was melting off of his bones, his blood soaking through the tatters of his clothing. The more the sludge dissolved him, the greater the smoke it emitted. Soon, all I could see of Father Augustine was a bloodshot eye, frantically searching for someone, anyone, to help him. Then that too was enveloped in the acrid black smoke. A few moments later, the screaming stopped. I had never felt so alone in my life. Shock had gripped my system and I couldn't run. I couldn't even stand. Instead, I sat there watching, waiting for the smoke to disperse. And once it did, I saw him again. Father Augustine's bones were crumpled on the ground in a tangled heap. His flesh, blood, clothes, everything else was gone. The black sludge clung to his remains, still smoking slightly. What I had not noticed before was a long, thin rope of black, stretching down from the ceiling to Father Augustine's skull. I watched in speechless horror as the black sludge began to gravitate slowly towards that rope. The sludge seemed to gain a life of its own, using the rope to crawl back up towards the rafters. Yet it was loath to leave behind the old priest's remains. It dragged the bones with it. And they hung from their bonds in disarray, like some kind of museum exhibit that had been put together wrong. Slowly the bones, the darkness, gravitated back towards the rafters, a fallen angel in reverse. And then all at once, the shadows swallowed them whole and they vanished. I was left alone to the smell of acid and decay.
Father Augustine was declared missing, and a search began immediately. My father, my mother, the police, none of them believed the story I told them. I can't say I blame them. Would you believe me? Do you find yourself believing me now? Whether you believe me or not, it's verifiable fact that he was never found. The search was called off after 6 months, and he was declared legally dead after a year. I spent 4 years in an institution. Nobody was quite sure what to make of my involvement in this. My father thought, probably still thinks, for all I know, that I made it up to try to get out of serving, and that Father Augustine's disappearance was a coincidence. I'll never understand how someone is able to delude themselves so completely to believe something as ridiculous as that. My mother thought I must have seen what had happened and had some kind of mental break because of it. She thought eventually I'd remember and I would be able to tell everyone what happened to Father Augustine. After my years in the institution, it became clear that was never going to happen. Perhaps she was disappointed in me. Perhaps she found a way to hate me. Who knows? I never will. I haven't had any contact with my parents in years. After I was released and declared mentally sound, I went to live with my grandparents on my mother's side. They loved and cared for me, in some ways more than my parents ever had. That's not to say my parents were bad people, it's just that, well, church was one of many things they cared about more than they cared about me. I went back to school, got my GED. At my grandfather's suggestion, I ended up becoming an electrician. Life has been all right since then. I've moved on, so to speak. But I never put the incident behind me. I've been researching. From the moment I was able to get access to a computer unsupervised, I've been looking, and this is what I've found. Father Augustine's real name was Anthony Malkovich. He was born in a small town in Missouri in 1952. He was not ordained to the priesthood until 1987. Between 1950